Hey everybody, I am so excited to be giving this webinar today on behalf of Dubsado to talk about how I use their system as a family photographer and filmmaker. So, I'm Colie James. I'm a family filmmaker and photographer educator based right outside of Boulder, Colorado. I go into clients' homes and make everyday photos and films of their families. And on the flip side, I help other family photographers build sustainable and profitable businesses for themselves. I've been a Dubsado user for the last 3 years, and I could not imagine running my business without it. I started my business in 2012. I tried a few other CRMs before I landed on Dubsado, but we're going to talk about that a little bit more later in the presentation. So, probably like many of you that are family photographers, I started my business doing everything manual. I was sending emails through Gmail. I was sending PDF pricing guides that I created in Photoshop to every inquiry that I got. I was collecting signed contracts and retainers using mock forms. And in case you're not familiar with what mock forms is, they are still around. Yeah, they're still around. It's kind of like Jot Forms or like Google Forms, but they connected with PayPal. So I was able to get clients to give me their basic information, kind of like a questionnaire, agree to some terms and conditions, like a contract, and then it forwarded them to PayPal to submit a retainer or a deposit, however you want to use that language. But this necessitated me having to make a final invoice every single time for my clients manually in PayPal. Let me just tell you, that really sucked. That's too much, y'all. So my client information was spread out over all of these different programs. Information was not easy to update. Automation was non-existent and completely not possible in some of the aspects. And guys, this is the look that I give people when they tell me that they don't have a CRM. I think everyone should have a CRM. I get a lot of pushback on why people don't have CRMs. They're too difficult to start using. The return isn't immediate. It costs too much per month. We're going to take care of all of those objections. So this is what I do with the extra money and time that Dubsado saves me. I go to Disneyland. But what do you get in Dubsado? For the cost of a family dinner each month, you get a central hub for all of your client information. You can respond to inquiries quickly and efficiently. You can book clients in minutes, including getting paid your deposit. You can do automation for repeated tasks and processes, and you can present yourself as a professional. I get a lot of comments from clients after they go through my initial booking system that it was so easy to book. It was so professional. I mean, I don't know what other professionals they're working with, but I certainly get a lot of compliments on Dubsado. And let's just say that I'm in the car pickup line for my daughter. I have booked clients. I have booked consultation calls. I have sent clients additional forms that they needed, all from my phone. Dubsado does not have a mobile app, but the mobile version works just fine for the majority of the things that I need to take care of for my clients on the go. I want to talk about that word automate, because when I am trying to convince a family photographer or really any creative to jump into Dubsado for their business, I get a lot of pushback on, but I don't trust a system to send things to my clients automatically. What if I forget to edit one of my canned emails? What if something goes out to the client and it shouldn't? The first thing that I want to tell you about automating your business in Dubsado is that you are in complete control. Automating your business does not mean things get sent to your client automatically. You have the choice of what you want sent to your client automatically or what you want to have input on before it goes to your clients. So in order to use Dubsado, you do not have to give up control of your business. That's not what using a CRM as a family photographer is about. It's about automating the tasks that you do for every single one of your clients over and over again. It's about having a central place to have all of the emails that you send your clients, so that if you are in the car or, somewhere else and you want to send your client an email, you can pull up this template. You can customize it with the information specific to that client or not, and then just send the email. Using Dubsado is efficient because it allows you to see all of your leads and your jobs at a glance, ensuring no one slips through the cracks. Confession time. There have been a couple of instances where I have gone, in the past, of course, not now, but where I have gone into my spam folder or my lead. When I used to use my website to get my leads, I would go in there and I would notice that I had received a lead that I had never noticed, that I had never responded to. And I mean, this was like months later. I mean, clearly they probably already found another professional to work with. But using something like Dubsado really helps you keep your leads from falling through the cracks. So not only are you answering them in a timely manner, automatically or not, but you're making sure that every lead that comes into your business, you can look at your workflow and make sure that you are current on every single one of those leads. Or once you book that lead and they become a client, you can keep up with all the processes that you do with your booked clients. Consistency. Years ago when I didn't have a CRM and I was going into Gmail, I thought I was really smart for saving some of my emails as draft emails. That was the Gmail version of a template. I would save it as a draft, and then, I would automatically pull it up to send it to these clients over and over again. But I was still having to write over information like copy in their name, copy in what kind of job it was, tell them when the start time and day of their project was. And with canned emails and the use of smart fields, that is totally not necessary in Dubsado. You can use smart fields to automate information that's already contained in a project so that you're not constantly having to go look that information up and plug it into the template before you send it to the client. Okay, so there's a lot of things that Dubsado does, but one of the objections that I get from family photographers is that it's really hard to fully set it up and that you don't know what portions of the system would be most useful to you. So today I want to focus on just getting inquiries booked. That's what I'm going to show you on the back end of my Dubsado account. So we're gonna stick with three things. We're gonna stick with the lead capture form, because to me that is the most important thing that you can set up in Dubsado when you sign up either for a trial or for a paid account. You want to immediately get in there and create that lead capture form and put it on your website, or copy the link and put it in the notes on your phone so that you can send it as needed. Schedulers. So this is kind of an advanced feature. I don't think that everyone needs to jump into using schedulers, but I just want to let you know that if you are using something like Acuity or Calendly to either book consultation calls, mini sessions, or just book out your regular sessions on your calendar, the good news is Dubsado has an integrated scheduler. So there's no need to use an outside program anymore. Everything can be done inside of Dubsado. And the third, and 100% my favorite aspect of Dubsado, is proposals. Proposals, sometimes people call them quotes, booking forms. This is where you can take all of your packages or whatever it is that you want to offer to a particular inquiry. You can lay it all out in a nice form. You can either use Dubsado's integrated features or with some CSS code. You can make them look really spectacular. But they're going to look at this proposal. They're going to select what they want to book from you. You can then click next to the contract, which will lay out all of your terms and conditions and get a legally binding electronic signature from the client. And then that will forward them to the invoice, where they can either pay, the full session fee or a deposit or retainer, depending on, your cost of your items. It is not required that you do all three of those steps automated. So you can hook it up to where they pick their package, then they sign their contract, then they pay an invoice all in one sweep. No emails in between, all they have to do is basically click next, and it takes them to the next portion. You don't need all three. You can skip the contract if you happen to have a service that you don't necessarily want a contract for. There are so many options in Dubsado. So now we're going to head over to the back end of my account so that I can show you what happens when a client inquires and then what I do for them through the booking process. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the lead capture form. So this is my contact form. And when I come down, I just wanted you guys to notice that I have 3 tabs. I actually offer a couple different services. So I have a tab for each one so that I can differentiate the different types of clients that I have. Now, it's not that these are services that I would offer to all the same client. These are actually 3 very distinct services that have 3 very distinct audiences for me. So I do want them separated by different lead capture forms. And the good news is you can create as many lead capture forms in Dubsado as your little heart desires. This happens to be the lead capture form for my photography clients. So a client that either wants a family session or a newborn session, that is what I book most. So that is the form that appears by default on my contact form. Now for fun, I have already filled this out because we are going to go through this process live. So Magic Johnson, I created a fake email account so that we can follow it through. I said that they were interested in a session and then a family session, and that they were interested in both photos and video. And then I just filled in a little bit of the blank. I did put that they that they found me on Facebook. You can put as many options here as you would like to figure out and track where your leads are coming from. I mean, a couple years ago, it was really only Google or another photographer for me, or not another photographer, Google or a referral. But I am starting to see more traffic from Facebook and Instagram. And honestly, one of the only reasons that I know that is because I track it on the back end. So we're going to go ahead and hit send to Colie. And when you're building your lead capture on the back end, you have 2 options for what you can do when they fill it out. You can either have a success message pop up, or I always suggest that you create a specific thank you page that it will take them to that kind of gives them some more information, tells them the next step, has a little bit more information that they can click on and read. Eventually, I'm going to have a video thanking them for their inquiry, but since I haven't had time to video that, I just have a GIF of me clapping. So let's go see what happened to that. I'm going to hit refresh on this fake email account. So we just filled out that lead capture form, and I wanted to show you that here an automatic response came to the client's email inbox. So now we're going to go into Dubsado, and I want to show you what this looks like on the photographer end. So this is the client. It came in as a family lead because we chose family from the drop-down menu of the workflow action. So when we open this, we're going to see that some of the information that I entered onto that lead capture form is automatically populated in the project and then also in the client profile. So we chose November 22nd, 2020 for the date. That email address is here as well as the phone number. And as you can see, this is that email that I automatically sent the client. So it gives them an option for 5 ideas for their session. They can see 2 other kinds of sessions. And then I have it in here where if they're super excited and they just want to kind of skip all this, they could automatically click to book a call. Now, if they don't click that, what I would do normally is there's 2 different ways that you can do it. When I was not doing client consultation calls, I would actually come in here to the project and the proposal should have automatically generated as part of the workflow. We're going to talk about workflows in just a minute. But so when I come in here, I can take a look at some of the options. So this particular proposal has coding. You do not need to have coding in order to make your forms look great. So if we wanted to come, I don't think this one has coding. Yeah, this one doesn't have coding. So this is what you are capable of doing in Dubsado without any additional fancy CSS. So I've got my logo for my photography clients here. I do have a code block here with a video embedded, but this is not, code that you have to buy from anybody. This is available inside the Dubsado user group. So it's one of the reasons that I picked Dubsado. I wanted to be able to embed a video anywhere because videos are a very big part of my business. I put videos in the questionnaires. I put videos in the proposals. Basically anywhere you could imagine a video being, I put one. And then, this is what a package looks like. And then I could actually have checkboxes for these if I wanted to do my add-ons in that way. But let's go back to the actual project that we're working on. I just wanted you guys to see that your forms can be nice and pretty without any additional CSS. And I actually only started to do proposals and other forms that have CSS in like the last 4 months. So let's come back to this form. One of the reasons that I don't have forms automatically sent to clients, and also once I have the consultation call, I come in here and I customize it based on whatever information the client has given me in either the lead capture or the consultation call. So for example, if this was for a newborn client and I knew that they were first-time parents, I would make sure that all of the images in this proposal were either maternity, just the baby, or the parents with a new baby. I wouldn't leave any images in here that had parents that had multiple kids because I want a prospective client to look at a form and be like, oh yeah, that could totally be us. So that's just one level of customization that I do. Or on the flip side, if someone wants a holiday session, I come in here and I make sure that at least half of the images are Christmas images so that they can see what a holiday session with me is like. Okay. So we're going to go back, and instead of sending them the proposal automatically, what I want to do is go ahead and send them a scheduler. So there's a couple different ways that you can do it. I have the scheduler as part of the workflow. If I did not have the scheduler as part of the workflow, I would actually come in here to appointments. I would click schedule appointment and I would add an existing template. And then here I could pick from my different templates. I would pick the phone consultation. And then when I hit send, it would pop up an email that could be customized. Now, since this is my first personalized email going to this client, if they had mentioned anything about, having a baby in August or wanting a Christmas session, this is where I would add, a little line addressing something that they told me in the lead capture so that they know that this email is not something that's going out that's automated. But since I already had one as part of the workflow for this particular project, I'm going to come over to workflow and I'm going to hit edit. And I just want to take a quick peek. This is where I can edit the email on this end. So since they mentioned wanting a session before the holidays, I would say I would love to schedule a chat, talk more about the process, just to let you know I do have some availability before the holidays. So the date you picked on your inquiry form is available. If it was not available, I would say it's not available, and I would probably list an alternative, or I would say something to the effect of, we can discuss alternative dates on our call. Okay, so I'm going to apply that, and then I'm just going to come and I'm going to click approve. Now, sometimes it takes just a hot minute for that to go through. So what I'm going to do is, this is going to show up in a couple places. Number one, it's going to show up over here in these emails because it is an email that's being sent. Number two, since I am the fake client, we could just come and refresh and watch for that second email to come here. And then, of course, I don't see it in either place, so I'm just going to come, I'm going to hit force. And it's sent. Now, I mean, it would have eventually sent, but for the sake of the video. So, hey guys, we've got that email here in our client email. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And then we're going to go ahead and click on schedule appointment. Just want to say one thing. I want these to be done like immediately. I don't want to give people a lot of time in between when they, you know, fill out a lead inquiry and then when I actually get the chance to talk to them about my process. So one other thing to note, you can notice that there are no Saturdays and Sundays on here. That is by default. If I added availability for a phone consultation on a Saturday or a Sunday, they would appear here, but I work on Saturdays and Sundays, so I don't leave those open for phone consultations. I also do this as a rolling 5-day process. So I don't want them booking, you know, their initial consultation call more than 5 days out. So I'm going to go ahead and come and I'm going to pick 11 a.m. I'm going to submit and finish. Now, for this particular schedule, it's not asking for any additional information because I already have their information in the system. If you were starting a scheduler from scratch, let's say for a mini session or for a consultation call before they have filled out a lead capture, you would want to attach a lead capture to the scheduler so that it caught that information for you so that you know the name and the phone number and the email of the person that's booked a call with you. So let's come back over, and I just want to show you guys that if we come over to confirmed appointments, we should see that 11 a.m. appointment that I just booked, and there it is. Okay, so we've had a client that's filled out a lead capture. I showed you what it looked like on the back end. I sent them a request to schedule a call. They received it. They booked their call. Okay. We have a conversation. It's great. They seem like they're a perfect client for me. They really loved my process. They asked what the next step was. That's when I'm going to come in here to these forms and I'm going to go ahead and send them the booking proposal. Now, if there's anything that needs to be customized, this is when you do it. You go ahead and you come and you can swap out images. You can, for example, this client specifically said that they were interested in photo and video, but if they were not, I would come over here and remove that option. I just want it to be as smooth as possible to get people booked. So I'm going to come back and we are going to send that form. Oh, actually, and sometimes I change it manually and sometimes I don't. But here, if you click this little ribbon, you can get all of your canned emails. So I'll just choose this one for fun. So we'll go ahead and do booking your session with Colie James Photography. I'm going to take out that last name. I would love to work with your family. Please click the proposal to see all the details for Parenthood sessions. You can finalize your booking, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and hit send. This is my favorite part. So then the client will get an email to book. When they click, and I showed you guys what the back end looked like with all that code. This is what the client sees. So they don't see any funky code. It does automatically populate their name. And then, of course, I have some testimonials. And again, this is all with CSS coding. So they're just going to come and they knew that they wanted photo and video. We're going to come to the bottom. It's going to say that $800 is due immediately. This is the second time that I did this. So the address is already populated. Normally that would be blank and the client would fill it out. So we're going to hit submit and next, which is going to take them to, why is that not going? There we go. It's just slow. That's going to take them to the contract. As you can see, name, session date, and address have already populated, as well as what they've booked. I'm going to come down here to the end and we're going to sign this contract. Okay. let's go back to the photographer end. Awesome sauce. So this is their invoice. I'm not going to pay myself $800 just to show you guys how to do it. But if they click pay now on the $800 that's due, this will pull up. It will look different depending on whether or not you're integrating with Square, Stripe, or PayPal as your payment method of choice. So then if we come back here and we hit refresh, a couple things have happened. Number one, it now says that it's completed. And then number two, it says that the contract is signed. Now, the next step for me is actually, let me give you a look at my workflow. So, and as you can see, I have a thing here that says if they don't fill out the form in 3 days, please send them a follow-up that's like, hey, did you forget? Are you still interested? But this is grayed out because they filled out the form. They booked. Now, one of the things is it isn't going to change the project status until they pay me. There is that really odd chance that someone will pick a package, sign a contract, and then for some reason not pay you. It's very rare for me, but it's happened twice. So now I don't consider someone to be a job until they actually pay that session fee. So I'm going to go ahead and mark it completed. And I'm going to do that because I'm not going to pay myself in order to get it to go. Now, because I paid myself or I marked that as complete, it's still not going to start the second part of my workflow because I haven't paid a session fee. So I'm going to click Force Now to see if for the purpose of you guys, I can't get it to show us the second workflow, which there it is. So now that this client has filled out a lead capture form, completed a consultation call with me, completed a proposal, signed a contract, paid a session fee, now they are a booked client in my system. So a couple things have happened. Number one, this is a questionnaire. And because we picked a date that was so soon, it's actually saying that it's too late to send the action. But normally I have a client questionnaire go out 3 weeks before a session. And then as you can see, I have an email that goes out to where we can confirm a start time. It's going to change their project status the day after the session from pre-session to post-session. The day after a session, I also send out an email that has a model release and a sneak peek. And as you can see, both of these have approvals next to them. That's because I definitely want the opportunity to customize these emails before they go out. I don't want to send a model release and a sneak peek with no sneak peek. So after I've edited a few images and I put them in that email, I will go ahead and approve it and then it will be sent out. And then the last two steps for me are sending their session to the image salon to be culled and edited or just edited. And then when I get it back from the image salon, I upload the gallery to PicTime. Now, I just want to put it out there that I used to do everything in Dubsado, and so I had a third workflow and I've deleted it already. I had a third workflow that would actually send out delivery gallery emails. So it would have a link to Shootproof or Dropbox when I was still using Dropbox. It would remind them to download their images, how to keep them safe, print release, all that jazz. But now the whole delivery process for me is handled in PicTime. So I no longer have workflow emails or even to-dos here because all of that is handled in an automated fashion over in PicTime. Okay, so let's come back to projects. And as you can see, if I had actually paid myself the $800, that $800 would then be green. It's not red yet because it hasn't been more than 1 day since they signed the contract. If it's red, it means that it's an overdue payment. If it's green, it means that it's a completed payment. And that is how I go from an inquiry on my website to a fully booked client in Dubsado. Now, there are so many other things that you can do at Dubsado. For instance, if you are using QuickBooks, you can integrate your QuickBooks here so that all of your invoices automatically get signed with QuickBooks. If you are not using QuickBooks, you can look here for your income charts, for your categories. You can put your expenses in here. There's just so much that you can do inside Dubsado to scale, optimize, and build a sustainable family photography business. But by far, if you use Dubsado for nothing else beyond the booking process, it is well worth the money that you pay. So just to let you guys know, I am an open book. If you have any questions and you want to know if maybe Dubsado is a good fit for you, if there's a part of here that you were unclear about or that you wanted some clarification on, these are my contact information. You can either reach out to me from my website or you can contact me on Instagram. If you decide to go from a trial to a paid account, please use my affiliate code Colie James. It will give you a discount off of your first payment, whether or not you go monthly or you do the annual plan. So thanks. I hope that this was really helpful. And I really hope that you look into Dubsado in order to run your family photography business. Thanks.